Welcome everybody to our podcast. I'm the mailman. This is Bryanna. It's called Bryanna and the Mailman. And
Winner in the Mailman.
Winner in the Mailman. We're going to do it that way. And this is our maiden voyage. And tonight we got our first guest. And our first guest, who better than Garrett Nelson, standout at Scottsbluff High School and part of the 2021 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Garrett, first of all, welcome. You and I have known each other for quite a while, huh?
It has been a while. First, I want to say thank you. Pretty honored to be the first guest. It's huge. I feel pretty good that you picked out me first. But yeah, no, we've known each other quite so, probably was it double digits yet?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think you were probably in junior high across the river over there before you got into it. I covered both your brothers in sports, and obviously, I hooked up your trailer when you got into high school. And, Garrett, there was something about you that I think I noticed a lot sooner than a lot of people did. And, I'm glad I did, because look where you're at now. And I guess the first thing I want to ask you tonight is, and we've talked about this a little bit kind of off record and stuff, but, what's it like? You grew up in a house where your dad competed for the Huskers on the wrestling team. And, you grew up wanting to be a Nebraska Cornhusker, and here you are and making the best of it, Garrett. Tell me about that little journey.
Yeah. So actually funny, it started off with me. I think it was about 7th or 8th grade. I was always involved with sports, Carpenter Center out where we live, and, baseball, basketball, and all the works, playing stuff with my brothers. And actually, I love that, but it actually started probably 7th or 8th grade. I told my dad, I was like, hey, I think I kind of want to do what you do. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, I think I want to be a Division I athlete. And he was, obviously, my dad, how he is.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, well, we're going to test that theory then. So before I even wrestled a varsity match, he sent me to this intensive camp actually here in Lincoln. It's a 2-week deal. You get to sit up in your own dorm, you live by yourself and take care of yourself and stuff like that. And I'm like 15. He drops me off at this place and he goes, hey man, good luck. So I get dropped off at this dorm. I move everything in. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I'm 15. I'm wrestling with these kids that, are seniors or going into college, and it's 2 weeks long, and we have like 5 training sessions a day. And I just get my ass kicked every day for 2 weeks. I mean, conditioning in the morning and then the wrestling at night during the day. Like, I am last and everything. I'm terrible. Getting my ass whooped to me. And then, like I said, my dad wanted to test that theory. So the last day, I think my ear, where I got my right ear, I got it torn off, and I got staph infection in it the last day. And I came down and it was all bandaged up, and my dad said I had the biggest smile on my face, and he said, that's when I knew that you were serious about it. So I thought wrestling was my ticket in. I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to go wrestle for him, and football has always been my love. And my freshman, sophomore year, I wrestled everywhere. And then my sophomore year, I finally think I went. I had a really good season my sophomore year. It was like my first year playing varsity, did really well. I was like, I think I really like this football thing, Dad. And he was like, well, let's go see if you really do. So we went all over the country, went to Texas and Wisconsin. We went here, we went to Wyoming, we went everywhere. Really got close to my dad, and he kind of is my best friend and my biggest supporter now. And I can't thank, the time we spent together enough. I can't, cherish that enough. And ended up getting a scholarship here, and I like you said, I've always kind of had that connection here, and I knew this was home for me. And literally a week later, I was committed. And look at me now. The rest is history. I committed and played the rest of the high school really well, and graduated early. And now I'm a Blackshirt on the defense, trying to lead a charge.
Well, you jumped, and one thing that I wanted to mention to you, Garrett, is that you went from one year to the next, and here you are, starting for the Blackshirts, making a big impact on Coach Shenander and Coach Frost and everything. And, I knew that was coming, but I think there was a lot of people that probably were like, oh my goodness, he's only been there for a year, and here he is already starting on the other side of the line. I knew what kind of a motor you had. But and I told people, I remember telling Matt Coatney over a Facebook message, I said, wait till you see this kid's motor run. And I'm glad I was right on that one. Jared, I think Bryanna had something she wanted to ask you.
Well, first time meeting you. I've only been in Nebraska for 2 months. In Los Angeles, I did something similar. I went to UCLA actually for a softball camp for a week. So I know the feeling of being in a dorm. I was 11 years old, knowing nothing. But what was your feeling when you made the Blackshirts this year?
Yeah. So this was my time gets a little weird because of how busy I am. But my freshman year, I think I have 3 Blackshirts right now because this year was my 3rd one that I got.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you the first time I got it, because every time that I have gotten it, it's like my first time. When I was working, like you said, I'm trying to show. As a freshman, I was out there playing. I had no idea what the hell was going on. I was just running to the ball with my motor, like you said. I was hitting dudes, falling on the ground. I had no idea. I just saw the brown thing that the guy was carrying, and I was trying to go tackle him. And I did that every day. I did that every day. Try to learn hard in meetings and figure out what I'm doing and what these words mean that these guys are telling me, and trying to be coachable. And one day it showed up in my locker, and I think I have the video, but one of my buddies knew how much that meant to me, and he recorded my reaction coming down from meetings into my locker room with it hanging up there, and I just bursted into tears. Like I couldn't stand up. Like I was sitting down in my locker, like dudes were hugging me. I was just crying how happy I was. And it's still getting my 3rd one. It still had that same effect, and it's even more special now because we have the old Blackshirts give us our shirts right at the end of camp, and hearing those guys' stories, and then looking in my eyes and shaking my hand and handing me this jersey. You can feel, like when you grab the jersey, you can feel how much it runs through your arm and into your body. And, I still, get choked up and shed a tear in front of those guys, and they do too. I mean, they talk about it and they can barely make it through their story. So when I grabbed that jersey, and I sit in line with all the rest of my teammates that grabbed one, and we have the whole team looking at us, it's pretty powerful. I'm never, this, Dave, that, Blackshirt isn't just a jersey. It's the lifestyle you live. As a 21-year-old young man, I know I'm not worried about, what's going to happen in life or how successful I'm going to be, is because I have the black shirt in me. I know that I'm going to do well in anything I do because I have that mentality. And that's, off the field and football wise, I know I'm held to a standard by 10 other dudes every day. So my biggest fear is letting them down. So I have to step up even more and set the standard. But just in life, I have that DNA inside me already. So I know that I'll be fine in life.
Well, that, Garrett, that bleeding that black shirt and, living that black shirt, it goes hand in hand with the legacy of the Nebraska-Oklahoma game. And we just, obviously it wasn't a great day for us, but I'll tell you what, seeing you guys go into Norman and punch those guys in the mouth, that meant something to me. I think that was a wake up call for the entire Husker Nation out there, that they know that you guys can play this game. They know you guys can play football. And, what was it like? You've been hearing the stories your whole life about playing Oklahoma and how big of a rivalry that was. And I'm old enough to remember a lot of those old games with the Sooners, and, the respect. Not only there was really no hatred with those guys. There was a lot of respect, because I know that those two programs kind of built each other off of each other. And what was it like going into Norman, Oklahoma, and playing that good of a football game against a team like Oklahoma?
Yeah. So we were talking about it during the week. He didn't really throw a ton of history on us. He was more focused on how we were going to do in the game. But he did throw by him through some knowledge to us. like you said, there wasn't like I've been Colorado where the fan, like old grandmas are sitting there giving you the bird while you're driving by, like hate your guts, throw stuff at your bus. They terrible stories that you've heard, from fans to our fans or just players. And I was fully expecting that going into Oklahoma, knowing how historic of that program it was. And like you said, we built off each other. We were number 2 and they were number 3. We were number 5 and they were number 4 when we were playing each other. It was always neck and neck with the rankings or how we were as teams, for however long we were in the Big 12. But when you go into enemy territory, you can feel the hate and the disrespect. Yeah. It's almost when you're in their stadium, you're like sitting like this, like you're going to get something's going to get thrown at you at any moment. There it was a huge level of respect. They guys, I don't know if they were saying ironically or not, but the fans were clapping and saying, "Hey, Huskers, welcome back." Like, this is super cool and everything like that. And I was pretty surprised because usually it's like, "You guys suck. You're get out of our stadium." This is, stuff that obviously there was some of that from, fans that had too many beers, but mostly, overwhelmingly it was, "Hey, Huskers, welcome back. Glad to have you back in Norman. This is awesome. Good luck on the game." So it was really cool. And, not being, being a young guy, not really knowing the full scope and history like you do, it felt like a little piece from the past was put in to that game. And I felt the respect and just the overwhelm. It was awesome. I loved it. The history behind that game is huge. And, like you said, it was a disappointing loss, but it was just overall, it was a great game to play. And it was super cool, stamping my mark on Nebraska history, playing Oklahoma again. So it was awesome. I had a blast doing it.
Well, we were proud of you guys. Anyway.
Do you think that you guys are going to be playing Oklahoma again in the future?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Fox or somebody came out with the ratings or the viewership of the game, and it was millions of people, and they were up like 60% on viewership. Like, people want to see that game because they know what it means. So I just off of that standpoint, definitely going to be playing them again, but just off of how historic our programs are. And, just like I said, the history behind the games, I think we're going to play each other a lot in the future. I would almost say every year if it was up to me.
That'd be awesome. I'd be all for that. I mean, that would be great. But that kind of preludes us into something else here. I mean, you guys didn't have much time to get over that Oklahoma loss. Now you're going to go in, play Michigan State, another ranked team right out of the chute. Night game for you guys. I mean, how has preparation been for Michigan State this week?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know, we practice right in the morning. I get up at 5:30. We get to the stadium. We hit all our meetings and stuff right in the morning. And Jay Foreman comes to the practices, and he was saying, while we were doing drills and stuff, we were getting water, and he came over to me, and he was talking about I can't remember if it was the Buffalo game or if it was Buffalo week or Fordham week. I can't really remember, but it was a specific time. He goes, "Hey, you guys do this stuff in the morning. When 2 o'clock or 11 o'clock rolls around, start get yourself kind of in game mode mentally. So when that time hits during the day, you're not thinking about class or whatever, you're thinking about the game. So your body, when it hits Saturday, you're like at 11 o'clock, you hit that drop in your stomach, and your, fight or flight kicks in. So I'm going to tell, my guys, I'm going to do it personally. I'll probably tell my guys, when, at night during the week, when 6:30 rolls around, sit down and get in game mode, go through, mentally visualize the game and what's going to happen, what you're doing. So, when night comes around, we're not dragging ass because we practice in the morning. We're ready to go, at night. So I love playing at night. Reminds me of high school. I love Friday Night Lights. It's great. Yep. Playing under, plus it's something cool to it. I mean, it looks different. It's just, for me, the colors, the atmosphere, it just feels like football, Yeah. So I'm excited for it. They, like you said, ranked opponent.
Another ranked opponent, not
Yeah,
just a
another-
ranked opponent. You
yeah.
guys are going through the gauntlet right now.
Yeah. This is, we accept the challenge. We know what team we are. We I said in an interview yesterday or 2 days ago that every week Chins says nameless faceless opponent, and that's helped me a ton mentally. I always get caught up with like, oh my gosh, Michigan State, oh my gosh, they're 20. Or, holy cow, Oklahoma's 3 or whatever, Any, in the Big Ten, any team can beat any team on any given Saturday. I'm not saying that like it's going to take a miracle for us to beat Michigan State. I'm saying, it can happen at any time, anywhere. You look at Purdue and Ohio State that one year, they have a really good quarterback that can throw the ball. They have a really good, I think, the best running back in the NCAA right now with leading yards. And obviously Big Ten physical O-line. We know what we can do. We know our techniques and what we do. We need to focus on ourselves and how to play physical and fast all the time with relentless effort. The rest will take care of itself. We know what we're doing. We don't need to change anything. The plan doesn't need to change because we're playing ranked dudes or whatever. We don't, fall. We don't rise to the occasion. We fall to the level of training. So if we train as hard as we can, we'll beat anybody. So Chin saying that, Frost saying that, us talking about it, us doing it. It puts me at ease personally, believing in my train, believing in myself, and going into this game like it's the Super Bowl every week, and we're gonna go, kick these guys' ass. So for me, it's awesome. It doesn't get too big mentally, because you're like, oh my gosh, like I said, these guys are 20. We gotta, we're 2-2. We need to, it's more like this is a football game. We've trained this. We're playing for each other. I'm looking at Nick knowing he's going to make that play. I'm looking at Boogie. I know I'm making this play. Conditioning down into that, looking at your teammates' faces is helps me a ton. And knowing that they trained as hard as I did, and we're going to go kick these guys' ass.
Did anybody put a cot in the weight room for you? That they've kind of figured out that you pretty much live there?
I actually, it's funny, during fall camp, there's actually cots. There was a cot in the locker room, and I took locker room cot naps, and I never left. So
I'm not surprised at all. Garrett.
I mean, you might be a prophet with the way you're predicting things, right? So I mean, predicted my outcome in the future, and you're predicting my naps in the locker room. I don't know what you're.
I'm a stalker, I guess, Gary. I'm starstruck because you're like my favorite player on the planet. So, everybody else, my pro teams, my college teams, they're all gone. I got number 44 to watch, and that's all that matters to me. So, I mean, that's all that matters to people. Yeah, here. Well, I know my Blackshirts hat that I wear. I actually wrote 44 on the hat because
that's awesome.
That one's for you, Garrett. I mean, like I said, I've been watching you a long time. I've watched you grow. I've watched you, as a person, and it's to me, it's just amazing to see where you're at right now.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been, I mean, like you said, you've been a part of it. It's been people, the biggest thing people look at, I wouldn't say I'm, I have found success. I wouldn't say I'm a successful person or that I've made it by any means, because that's just the person I am. I never complacent. People look at my success and they think that it's always been a smooth ride, the whole time. There has been some really, really, really low lows in my life that have built me into the person I am and how I am mentally and physically. And people don't see those really dark valleys that you mentally go through. And if anybody who listens or is trying to find tips on find success, it's okay to go through those valleys. You need to. It's not even okay. You need to go through those valleys. That's how you grow as a person. There's no growth without suffering. I know what it's like to be a disappointment. I know what it's like to play a bad game. I know what it's like to not meet expectations and be a failure. I know what all those feelings are. And what drives me not to be those things is I don't want to feel those feelings ever again.
Sure.
Going to your whole life, your whole life, you're going to feel those feelings. So training your hardest, trying your best, attention to detail, giving everything you have, you know, with your passion of what you're doing. That all that stems from, you know, I don't want to disappoint my teammates. I don't want to feel those feelings again. I hate losing more than I love winning.
Yeah.
So
you and I've talked about that too. Yeah. You and
I will do anything to
lose.
not lose.
Yeah.
So that, you know, like I said, people look at success and they think it's a smooth ride. It's a pretty bumpy road that you got to go through, but I'm glad I went through it, and I'm coming out the person I am.
Yeah. Well, you know, and you know, and I want to shout out to your mom and dad, because, you know, I've always said this, Holly and Chris have done an excellent job with you guys. And, you know, I got some great pictures of you hugging your dad after your state championship as a junior. And, you know, one thing I want to shout out to Holly, and I want to ask her right now, and you know, before I let Bryanna talk again, but please let Garrett grow that mullet back out, because we miss the mullet, man. We miss it.
Dude, like I said, I was a freshman, new guy got there, like just trying to figure it out, had no street cred whatsoever. And I was walking around campus and going different places, and people were like, Garrett Nelson, because like they've seen me in like interviews or whatever on the field with my mullet, like acting weird or being a crazy person. They're like, number 44? And I'm like, yeah, man, what's up? Like I've been I'm on kickoff, but yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, it's funny, man. Yeah, that was like huge, like the video came out or whatever, and people were like, oh, who is this dude? He has a mullet, he must be out of his mind. And people were coming up
only knew.
Yeah, like the conversation piece from that thing, like chicks were like, dude, mullet. And I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, I did it.
Way, we want it back, Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, I grew out the mullet, cut it, and I grew out my hair, and the people love that, and I cut it. So I don't know, got a haircut today, and I mean, I don't know. Good. Yeah, I look professional now. I look like I'm not, you know, but yeah, who knows, man? Maybe, you know, in the upcoming future, I might bring it back out of the shelf.
Well, Garrett, I know I know that you want to get some study time in. We've already taken up a lot of your time. Bryanna, is there anything you'd like to say to Garrett?
Well, thank you for joining us. I was going to ask you, if Oklahoma comes to Nebraska, are you going to go?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to ride with the Nelson.
I'll get you a ticket.
I'm going to ride down with Chris and Holly, and we're going to go watch Nebraska football against Oklahoma. And I can wear my number 44 Garrett Nelson hat that I made myself. And, you know, that's a good conversation piece as well. So, but Garrett, you know, like I said, buddy, it's great talking to you. Thank you for your time tonight. We sure appreciate it. You know, all eyes are on you in the western half of the state. And, you know, it fills our hearts to have you down there and representing us the way you do. And I never once wavered that you wouldn't be who you are today. And I know you've worked your can off and you're still working your can off, and you're going to get those goals and dreams. And we're just that much proud of you, man. We're just so proud of you down here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, you guys, you know, you personally, and just the people that I grew up with around that area, you know, I think about them almost every day, you know, when I'm in practice or what I'm doing. If I'm, you know, when I get tired, or, you know, believe it or not, I get tired.
I don't believe that, because you're a machine. You are a machine.
When I'm sitting in the locker room, you know, week 9, and I got to go do a 2-hour practice, and I can't feel my toes and my knees aren't moving, and I can't bend over, you know, and I'm thinking, man, this is going to be a rough one. I always think about you guys, and it, you know, for somehow and some reason, I feel a ton better afterwards. So, and I go practice my ass off, and everything is okay. So I use you personally, you guys, in Western Nebraska, in Nebraska, you know, whoever looks up to me as a huge cornerstone and motivation for me in my life. So, you guys probably don't see it, but I think about everybody all the time, you know, more than I'd probably like to admit. but you are a vital piece of my life, and I hope everybody understands that.
We appreciate that.
I couldn't be where I am now without you guys. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing without you guys. And I seriously can't stress how much I love you guys, how much I am thankful for you.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Well, thank you for being the first person to be on Winter and the Mailman.
And you and Coach Frost need to get out here and go hunting with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
waiting to go take an antelope. So we're like, yeah, dude, let's go. We're going.
No, I mean, we want to do some goose hunting with you. We want to bring you out and do some goose hunting.
Yeah, he'd be down for that too. He'd be down for anything, honestly.
Absolutely. Bring him out, man. Tell him you know a great guy. He's got a great outfitter, and we can go do some goose hunting.
Absolutely. That'd be a blast.
All right.
But also, sick name of the pod. That's pretty, I'm not gonna lie. When you guys, I was like, that is a pretty good name. That's a pretty good name.
When I lose, I can't, like, even when I lose, I literally can't lose because like my last name, I just can't lose.
Winner and the Mailman.
Even,
I mean,
even in high school, like the school, like staff was like, you can't lose. You've got 2 winners on your team because my sister was on the team with me.
That's pretty funny. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's
that was my senior year too.
Yeah,
so it was quite fun.
That's awesome.
Garrett probably thought my name was the Mailman for the longest time. I mean, that's what they always called me.
Mailman.
Yeah. Well, Garrett, I mean, we've been trying to get you off so you can go do your homework, get some studying done, and we will be talking to you more, I promise. And we'll be keeping an eye on what's going on down in Lincoln, and definitely have the eyes are going to be on number 44 on Saturday night. So you got everybody down here rooting for you, buddy, and you just keep up the great work.
Absolutely. Love you guys. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast as first honorary guest, baby. Huge deal.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck, man. I hope to see you soon. You know, whether, this is awesome, but I would love to shake your hand and give you a hug. And so hopefully you can come down to a game, or I'll visit.
I'll let you know if I do.
Yeah, please do.
And so for those of you watching or listening, just also make sure to visit Star-Herald.com or get the print edition for more sports coverage. And I'm sure we'll have Garrett back on soon.
Absolutely.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Go get that Butkus Award or something. We'll get you something.
Gotta get something.
All right, man. Have a great night, buddy.
Yeah.